about your question, Johnny.
What question is that?
The question you asked the end of last night's PFR.
Well, the vent worked, didn't it? They won.
I realize that. It's good that they won. But do we consider it a tie considering who else won today?
Everybody's hands go up, way up, as the Nashville Predators defeat the Minnesota Wild by a score of 5-2 at the XL Energy Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. They get their first road win of the season. They hand the Minnesota Wild their first loss of the season, all the while playing their best game of the season by far, and it only took 6 games to get there. Not only that, they also help 24-year-old Connor Ingram win his first NHL start, only the second Preds goalie in history to win in their debut after the great number 35, of course, and they do it in under 20 hours since the end of yesterday's game. Sorry for the vent that was the last PFR video, Preds Nation. Sometimes when you know that the team can perform better, you just gotta let them have it. The Preds' hard work early in this one pays off, and they continue to appear to have the same success that they had from the Jets game with their power play. Preds are passing it around, and a shot from the point from Mikael Granlund is a rebound off of Kaapo Kähkönen to Captain Roman Josi, who buries it. 1-0 Preds. Shortly after, Tolvanen has the puck in the corner in the Minnesota zone, and he's hit awkwardly into the board by Minnesota captain Jared Spurgeon, and unfortunately Tolvanen would not return, so the Preds had to play the rest of the game with 11 forwards. But fortunately, the Preds would get awarded a power play out of the boarding, and their luck would continue. Forsberg to Kaapo Kähkönen's left, gets it out front to Ryan Johansson, who bangs away at the rebound, gets it in, 2-0 Preds. Maybe this is developing into something positive, as shortly thereafter, Matt Duchene takes a penalty for slashing Dmitry Kulikov, but the Preds kill it off. Just about 7.5 left to go in the first. Off the rush, off of a pass from Roman Josi, a streaking Ryan Johansson snaps it past Kaapo Kähkönen, 3-0 Preds. You are not reading that wrong if you are watching this recap without watching the highlights. The Preds are up 3-0 in the first, playing their best period of the season, bar none. The Minnesota Wild seem to find their footing, but Connor Ingram and the Preds bend but do not break, and the lead is still 3-0 after the first. After having the edge in power plays in the first, which was 3-0, you knew the refs were going to look for stuff to try and balance it out. That's how they always work. And sure enough, it was former Pred Ryan Hartman who would get Mikael Granlund to hook him. But just as strong as the Preds power play was in the first period, the Preds penalty kill equalized that effort in the second. So far, so good. The Preds roster is working their butt off because they do not want to let Connor Ingram down in his first NHL start. But alas, the Preds couldn't hold the Wild at bay forever, and Nick Bjugstad, off of the rush, snaps the puck far stick side past Ingram, 3-1 Preds. Later, after Roman Josi has made it 4-1 Preds, with about 90 seconds left to go in the middle frame off of an odd man rush, Yakov Trenin comes down to Kähkönen's left and gets it over to Tanner Jeannot with perhaps the goal of the year into this very early season, and he bats it home mid-air, mind you, past Kähkönen, 5-1 Preds. That goal better be contender for goal of the night on ESPN in the US and Sportsnet in Canada. But alas, the Preds would still have a 3-goal lead like they did after the first, after the second, off of a bad turnover by Mark Borieski, and Nico Sturm gets a garbage goal that Ingram had no chance on. 5-2 Preds after 40 minutes. Preds with 2 solid penalty kills in the early part of the third period that totally would have propelled the Wild back into this game if they hadn't killed it off, including a Nick Cousins tripping call on Ryan Hartman that the refs and Roman Josi at the time knew that Hartman totally sold. With the Wild still trailing by 3, they pull Kakkonen with about 5.5 minutes to go, trying to see if that will give him enough time to climb back into this game. Preds fans were all hoping for a 6-2 goal, as at that moment Johansson and Josi both had 2 goals each, so it would have been nice to see one of them get a hat trick. Sissons takes a high sticking penalty with about just under 3 minutes left to go, almost like they planned it so the Preds would just ice the puck and not get whistles. But shortly thereafter, the Wild would negate it. It would be 4-4, and they would call off the Dogs, and this game would finish Preds 5, Wild 2. Congrats again to Connor Ingram on making his NHL debut and getting his first NHL win in his NHL debut. He becomes the 19th goalie in Preds history to appear in a game. Some noteworthy roster moves that I didn't mention coming into this game that were nicely appreciated was the money line, so to speak, was split up to try and see if you could get other chemistry of other players, and the Herd line was reunited. Everyone knows that line was the energy this team needed last season that, along with Saros' great play in net, got this team into the playoffs. Props to special teams not making bad play a trend on back-to-back nights or consecutive games, as the power play went 2 for 6 and the Preds killed all 5 Minnesota Wild power plays. Come Tuesday night, at home in Bridgestone Arena against the San Jose Sharks, I would like to see this exact same roster, especially because Ben Harper also was scratched. Go with it until it stops working. Hopefully this lineup gives the Preds something to play for, because after a short 2-game homestand against the Sharks on Tuesday and then the Islanders next Saturday, this team goes on potentially a season-breaking 6-game road trip while the CMA Awards aren't in town, the longest road trip they'll have this season. Might be just what the doctor ordered, to have it early in the season so they can have something to build off and feed off of later in the season when they may have their struggles. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. As always, click like if you liked this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. You can find my social media by clicking on the channel name. Tell all your friends about Predemption. 2 wins in the month of October, huh? So the 02-03 season will remain the worst season in Preds history.